Here are the 10 things real winners in entrepreneurialism, real business winners never do. A real winning entrepreneur and business owner does not blame others or their team when something goes wrong. It's not to say that other people and team members do not make mistakes, but it is to say that when they do, that business owner doesn't turn around and tell clients or tell partners, oh yeah, so-and-so fucked it up. Hell no. What a real entrepreneur who cares about the growth of his or her organization does is teach that team member through the mistake and develop a system to help prevent that mistake from ever occurring again. So blame shifting and excuse making is something a real entrepreneur never does. A real winner in business does not look at a one-off data point as a law or as a fact. So if you launched a new offering and the offering didn't do well, if you were a real entrepreneur, a really skilled and mentally sound business person, you would not look at that and say the brand is a failure, right? Even if it's your very first one, it wouldn't mean that the brand overall is a failure. It wouldn't even necessarily mean that that offering is a failure, right? It could be that the seasonality was off. It could be that there is a tech issue. It could be that there was an audience mismatch. It could be that the advertising was incongruent with the product itself. You see what I mean? There's so many variables to look at in a situation where something goes wrong. So rather than saying the offer is bad, you're looking at a one-off data point and considering it law, that blankets a much larger field than what is actually going on here. So what a winning business person does in this situation is they examine all of the variables, determine which one has the highest probability of getting the desired outcome, and they go after it and they fix that one. Another example of interpreting a one-off data point as law is actually looking at a single moment in time, right? So if you're looking at your sales for the month of June 2022, and you notice they're lower than the sales in May of 2022, you're looking at two data points distinctly, and you're not considering any overall trends or any other comparisons that you may want to be making. Now, it's not to say that there couldn't be useful information in analyzing May versus June of 2022, but there are a ton of other data sets you want to be looking at. First of all, time might not be the only variable here, right? Did you get less traffic? Did some of your partners stop promoting you, right? Like, did your reach on Instagram shut down, right? So it's not just the time variable, but it's also how did you do in June of 2022 compared to June of 2021, right? Is there a seasonal component that you could realize, oh yeah, sales just tend to dip off in the summertime? I've said it before. In a lot of sneaky ways that most people don't know about, most people realize, seasonality can really affect the season-to-season performance of a business. But if you're only looking at that across month, disparate point in time, to month, disparate point in time, you're never going to get an understanding of the overall trend and what you can do to buffer and raise the floor and make that overarching trend keep going up. What you want to look at are rolling averages and trends. How is everything moving? Not one data point in time versus another data point in time. So business winners tend to think this way. Hi, I'm Laura, by the way, internationally tolerated business mindset coach. No, I'm just kidding. My clients really love me because I give them no bullshit, actionable ways to use their mind and a little bit of their personal development in addition to business strategies to help them get to the next level. If you like this sort of hard-hitting content, I don't know where the fuck else you find it on the internet. If you know other people talking about stuff like this, share it with me. I'd love to see it. If you like mine, feel free to subscribe. The next thing real business winners never do is give up too soon. So, the offering that did not go as planned is a perfect example. Even if you've just launched a brand new brand and a brand new offering, it doesn't go as you planned, and you say, the brand is trash. See, I knew it. Notice how mindset is a factor here. Anytime you say to yourself, see, I knew it, that is revealing, that is an indicator of some of the deeper mindset work and personal development work that you need to do to become more successful in business. Some people might not find that sexy. I think it's incredibly sexy because it's hugely leverageable. You fix that little kink in your mindset one time, you can be better not just forever, but across multiple domains of your life. It could bleed over into your relationships, into how you feel about yourself, and into the business, and more. So back to my point, they do not give up too soon. They start isolating variables. They start seeing, what are we going to try next? How are we going to iterate? And what are we going to do next? So anytime you put something out there and it does not get the response you want, and you feel the urge to give up, you need to realize that you are not taking winners' actions. You're taking losers' actions. And I don't want that for you. I want you to take winners' actions. So start to think about how you iterate, how do you improve, or sometimes just trying the same thing again. Like a batter gets up, he strikes. Does he drastically modify his swing? No, a lot of times he keeps his swing exactly the same and he just simply tries again. So especially if you're just stepping your toe into these waters and you're just trying something out for the first time, don't be afraid to try the same thing again. It gives you another point of data and you can examine the trends that is starting to happen here, right? And it's much more useful to use a trend to evaluate what you're gonna do next and how you might modify something versus that one little tiny data point. On the flip side, the other thing real business winners never do is they never hold on too long out of stubbornness, okay? So, winning traders. Being a day trader or a swing trader in the stock, options, or crypto markets is incredibly difficult, okay? Very, very, very few people can do this successfully, and the ones who tell you they can are not being completely honest the majority of the time. But that aside, do you know what the best traders do? It's not that they rake in the most massive gains. It's that they cut their losses the fastest. So there's a bias called loss aversion. So let's stick with trading and investing. You hold on to an asset like a stock. It dips in price. What does your gut and your heart say to you? I can't sell. I don't want to sell. I can't sell. I don't want to sell. I don't want to take a loss. I got to wait until it goes up before I can sell. The best traders in the world oftentimes will think in the exact opposite way. They'll think, ooh, I can sell at this loss, redeploy that capital, and make the loss back much more quickly over here. That's what their analysis tells them. Make this capital back much more quickly over here than I could holding here and waiting for this asset to come back. In other words, they're thinking about it as cash. So if you invest $1,000 in Tesla and it drops to $900, if you still had that $900 cash in your hand, would you put it in Tesla? If the answer is no, then operating in this framework, you're supposed to sell Tesla and put that $900 somewhere else. So that's kind of a far-ranging, we touch on many different interesting concepts within that metaphor that I'm making right now. And it's not just a metaphor, it's a huge part of real life. But applying this metaphor to the thought of holding on too long out of stubbornness is something that real business winners never do, right? If they see that the trend has just been going down and down, the market is not liking what you're putting out there, You've tried different iterations. You've tried to think bigger picture, smaller picture. You've applied all these different perspectives, which I teach about in an incredible free gift that I have for you over at mindframe.me. I've applied all this stuff, I've tried it, and it's still just not working. You don't want to be the victim of loss aversion there. And you don't want to continue holding on to avoid the ego sting of, if I let this go, it means I failed. Because it doesn't, right? What it means is you've gotten an incredible amount of data that you can apply for whatever you're going to do next, right? So just like you would take that $900 and put it where you think you have a better chance of getting more gains, that's what you need to do. That's the way your mind has to be in a situation like this. So that's why real business winners never hold on too long out of stubbornness or ego. The next thing real business winners never do is say, it's impossible. I don't know that this point needs like a ton of belaboring, but could you imagine? I hang out with so many entrepreneurs now that like, I cannot even imagine somebody saying the phrase to me, it's impossible. You know, unless we're talking like something really, really crazy, like a human staying underwater for like 10 days or something like that. You know, and even then, like my brain tends to be like, well, there's gotta be a way, you know? But real business winners never look at the challenges to be solved in business and say that a solution is impossible, that solving the challenge cannot be done. Not only do real business winners think there's definitely a way it can be done, they think there are infinite ways to get it done. See how the perspective shifts? We're not just looking for the one way to get it done. We're analyzing the infinite possible ways to get it done. That is what real business winners do. Which ties into my next point so perfectly. One thing real business winners never do, this is the only way, or there is only one way. It's just not true. How do you sell a product? There are a gazillion ways. How do you grow a team? There are a gazillion ways. Maybe they're virtual. Maybe they're overseas. Maybe they come into the office. Maybe they work contractually. Maybe they're an employee. You see, infinite ways. So for whatever you want to achieve, please adopt this business winner's mindset. Instead of asking yourself, what is the way? How do I do it? Ask yourself a better question. Which way will I do it? That's gonna force you to think of 10, 20, 100 different potential ways for you to solve the challenge that you wanna solve. And then you can say to yourself, given my talents, given my resources, given my desires, which of these will I try first? Bonus question to ask yourself, which of these will I try next? This way, if the first way doesn't work out as magically as you hope, you're not in the rut of, oh, see, I knew it. You immediately know what you're going to try next. How much more empowered and strong and like a badass would you feel if you operated in that way? Well, that is the way real business winners operate. The seventh thing that real business winners never do is they never ask for help. I got a little bit cheeky with you. I'm using a double negative. Real business winners ask for help. If there's something they don't know, they will reach out to a colleague, a friend, they'll reach out to a mentor, they'll reach out to their customers. Like they will turn around and ask for different iterations of help constantly. Now, will they always use the language, hey, can you help me? Hey, I need help. Maybe, maybe not. One thing they're dialed into is the specificity of what they're asking for, right? So if they want to see why a funnel is not working so great, they might turn to a funnel expert and say, where is the hole in this funnel? Or what do you think the problem with this funnel is? Versus coming to the funnel expert and saying meekly, you know, hey, can you help me? No. This can reframe the way you view help. It's not this meek little thing that you're asking for. You are asking a strategist, an expert, or sometimes even just a friend to give you that high level, valuable insight. And of course, you want to be appreciative and gracious and generous in kind. So real business winners never ask for help. I have one more double negative for you. The next thing real business winners never do is they never look for leverage. Leverage, here's as an example, a hinge, very small piece of a door, right? But that hinge is a tool that helps us open doors that can weigh up to 200 pounds, huge steel, iron doors. That is the concept I want you to keep in your head when you think about leverage. And real business winners are thinking about leverage all of the time. What is one small tweak? What is one small addition? What is one small thing I could remove that might open the floodgates of my business even more? What is one asset I could create that I could redeploy in 10 different ways? Small hinge, big door. Real business winners are thinking about leverage constantly. The ninth thing a real business winner never does is exist in isolation. I get it if sometimes you feel like I don't like people. They're so annoying and they're draining, especially if you're an introvert, right? I don't want to be around them. I don't want to ask them for help. I don't want them to tell me what to do. But real business winners never exist in isolation. The truest form of scale comes through other people. It doesn't come from machinery. Not yet anyway. I'm not saying AI might not shake things up a bit. It very well may. My hope is at the end of the day, there's still going to be essential humans who are operating the AI. So if you have all of the AI in the world, but no humans to flip on the switch and get it working, you're still going to need some humans. So humans are a huge source of leverage, right? You can bring in one team member and they can do more than double your output, right? And if that team member is in a leadership or managerial role, then they're doing way more than doubling your output because they're bringing in team under them. So to try to do everything yourself, to be afraid of the skills that you might have to grow, to step up into delegation and leadership, and to be afraid of the investments you may have to make in delegation and leadership, that's something that real business winners never concern themselves with. The last thing real business winners never do is stop learning. I've been fortunate enough to hear stories about Peter Thiel at dinner conversations, and he is asking everyone at the table, what books are they reading? He writes down their answers. He's going to go buy those books and read them. He is continuing to learn. If he's continuing to learn, don't you think your ass still has a thing or two to learn? Entrepreneurs, when they get to a certain level, especially like in the mid 6 and they're starting to hit 7-figure mark, they tend to forget that they need to learn stuff because they've gotten into a groove. They do the things that they do very, very well, but then they're confused when they hit that 7-figure ceiling and don't get to the next level. It's because they're not learning what they need to learn next. And at stages like that, it's often getting outside capital, building team, bringing in C-suite level employees. At a point like that, if you're getting close to the 7-figure mark, it's likely that you have built a company that is too valuable for you to run. Now that might feel like an ego hit to you, but the realest of business winners are thrilled by that, to bring in that CEO so that the person who started that business can do whatever it is they're the biggest driver of again, versus doing the CEO tasks of the business. Unless, of course, they are the CEO type of person, in which case they're bringing in another big time operator to let that person stay in their zone of genius and drive. One other thing real business winners never do, here's my bonus tip for you, is they do not stay stuck in procrastination for too long. So if you want to dive into the 6 reasons why you procrastinate, go ahead and click here and watch this video. I'll see you over there.